Hello friends, now we will discuss about different kinds of unit cell. First of all, simple or primitive unit cell. Simple or primitive unit cell. The unit cell where at the corner of unit cell is occupied by the constituent particle is called simple or primitive unit cell. Let us draw the figure of simple unit cell. This is a cube and at the corners of each corners of the cube is occupied by a point constituent particles. These are the lattice points present in the simple cubic cell. There are 8 corners and each corner is occupied by a constituent particles. This is called simple or primitive unit cell. Now, what is the number of constituent particles per unit cell? Number of particles number of particles per unit cell is equal to 8 divided by 8 equal to 1. Why 8 divided by 8? Because these point is shared by 8 such cube. So per cube the portion remain is 8 into 1 by 8, that is 1. So number of particles per unit cell in case of simple primitive unit cell is 8 by 8, that is 1. Now the second one is phase centered unit cell. What is phase centered unit cell? Every cube has 8 corners and 6 phases. If the constituent atoms are present on the 8 corners and at the center of each phase, then it is called phase centered unit cell. Let us draw a phase centered unit cell. At the 8 corners there are 8 points. and at the center of each face there is another point. At the center of each face there is another point. There are 6 phases, mind it. At the center of each faces there are one atom. This is called face-centered cubic lattice. Now, what is the number of atoms per unit cell in such face-centered cubic lattice? Number of atoms per unit cell is equal to 8 divided by 8, because these 8 points are shared by 8 different cubes, and these 6 points which are present at the center of the face, 2 cubes shared these 6 points, so the number is 6 divided by 2, and the total value is 1 plus 3, that is 4. So number of atoms per unit cell in case of face-centered cubic lattice is 4. Now the third one, and it is body-centered cubic lattice. In body-centered cubic lattice, 8 corners of the cube are occupied by a constituent atoms, and at the CG of the cube there is one point. The figure is like that. This is a cube, and at the corners, 8 corners, there are 8 constituent particles, and at the CG there is one point which is only shared by this unit cell. So the number of atoms per unit cell is equal to 8 by 8 plus 1, because this point is shared by only one cube. So the number is 1 plus 1, that is 2. So we have discussed 3 types of unit cell. The first one is simple cubic, and the number of atoms per simple unit cell is 1, and the second one is face centered, and the number of atoms per unit cell is 4, and number of atoms per unit cell in body centered cubic lattice is 2. That's all. Thank you. For testing your understanding of this lesson and more videos, log on to www.tubelessons.net.